Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to Invest Ottawa, lead economic development agency for knowledge-based industries in Canada's capital, and Bayview Yards, Ottawa's one-stop business acceleration shop. My name is Sonia Shorey. I have the pleasure of serving as Vice President, Marketing and Communications, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to our special announcement event today with FedDev Ontario. Il me fait plaisir de vous accueillir l'annonce d'aujourd'hui.
Thanks, Sonia. My name is Nick Quain. I'm Vice President of Venture Development. Want to welcome everyone here today, and also want to have a very warm welcome to some special guests and dignitaries that we have here with us. Karen McCrimmon, the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness and a Member of Parliament for Canada Carleton. His Worship, Jim Watson, our Mayor of Ottawa. Eli L. Shantiri, Councillor for West Carleton. Jan Harder, Councillor for Barrhaven. Colette Downey, Vice President, Business Innovation and Community Development for FedDev Ontario, members of our board of directors, members of our subcommittees, entrepreneurs, founders, employees of startups and scale-ups, welcome all.
We are delighted to have so many with us today. And it is now my honor to introduce Bree Jamieson-Holloway, co-founder and CEO of Nurtured Life, an Indigenous entrepreneur we are truly proud to support. Bree is Algonquin Anishinaabe. A corporate lawyer by trade, she has broad international business experience working for and representing government, public, and private sector companies of all sizes around the world. In 2018, she launched Nurtured Life, an all-women-led startup here in Ottawa, with the goal to make wellness more accessible and available to everyone. This firm captured Best Pitch and Crowd Favorite Award at Invest Ottawa's first pre-accelerator pitch competition last December. She is also the newest member of our Female Founders and Women-Owned Business Subcommittee. Please join me in welcoming Bree to the podium.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I want to begin by acknowledging and paying respect to the Algonquin people who are the traditional guardians of this land. We acknowledge their long-standing relationship with this territory, which remains unsurrendered and unceded. We pay respect to all Indigenous people from this region and from all nations in Canada who call Ottawa home. We acknowledge and thank the traditional knowledge keepers, both young and old, and we honor their courageous leaders, past, present, and future. Nous rendons hommage au peuple algonquin, gardien traditionnel de cette terre. Nous reconnaissons leur relation de longtemps avec ce territoire qui demeure non cédé sans cession. Nous rendons hommage à tous les peuples autochtones qui habitent à la région d'Ottawa ou d'ailleurs au Canada. Nous remercions les gardiennes des savoirs traditionnels, jeunes et âgés, et nous honorons aussi leurs dirigeants courageux d'hier, d'aujourd'hui et de demain. Merci.
Thank you, Bree. And for those of you who get a little bit stressed out at times, download the Nurtured Life app. Always be selling Bree. Come on now, this is part of the training. Now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker and guest of honor, Karen McCrimmon, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness and Member of Parliament for Canada Carleton. Karen is a Canadian Forces veteran, mediator, and politician. After a 31-year military career, Karen retired as a lieutenant colonel. And she was the first female navigator and the first woman to command a Canadian Forces Air Force squadron. She became involved in federal politics for the Liberal Party in Canada in 2008 and was elected as an MP in 2015. Please join me in welcoming Karen to the stage.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you. This one's better? All right. Wow, you guys are a sight for sore eyes. I just love the energy in this room. Sonia, Nick, thank you very much for those kind words. Isn't this amazing? I know, I am just so excited, and you should be too. You know, this has been what Invest Ottawa and the City of Ottawa and all of us have been working for years. That recognition that we can do more. Right? Yes, exactly. Woo! I love that energy back there. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need more of. Bonjour à tous. C'est un grand plaisir d'être ici avec vous cet après-midi. And thank you to all the honored guests who have chosen to join us today. It really makes for a celebration because guess what? That's what this is. This is a celebration. Merci à l'Invest Ottawa d'accueillir cet événement aujourd'hui. Merci, Michael. OK, c'est un privilège d'être ici parmi quelques-uns des entrepreneurs, c'est vous, penseurs, c'est vous, et chefs de file les plus innovateurs du pays, right here in Ottawa, the kind of entrepreneurs, the thinkers, the people that have imagination, the talent, the courage, the creativity. You're all right here. And yes, exactly, you're all right here. We have a lot to be proud of in this city. Yes, that's right. We have a lot to be proud of. And I'm pleased here today to be here on behalf of the Honourable, my colleague, Minister Navdeep Bains. He's a believer. He's a believer that technology will be a key pillar in Canada's future technology. The Prime Minister is a believer that this kind of technology will be a key driver in our economy in the future. But why not? Why look at the talent in this room? Look, we've managed, how lucky are we? We have managed to attract talent from all over the world who come here to make Ottawa and Canada, my riding, home. And if we can harness that talent, if we can bring people who have different ethnic backgrounds, different religions, different languages, different perspective, different education, and if you bring them all together in a space and get them to work together, magic happens. And magic is happening right here today, right now. And I think the City of Ottawa does a good job. I think the City of Ottawa exemplifies that concept of bringing people together and having them work together to create a better future for everybody. That's what we do best. And that's example that Ottawa and Canada needs to set for the rest of the world. That's what you're doing, you know that, right? You are setting an example of leadership for the rest of the world. How do we welcome people here from all over, all different backgrounds, provide an opportunity to work together so that we all succeed together, and then we share the riches that come from that success. The world could use a little bit more of Ottawa, I think, and a little bit more of Canada. My riding is 20 minutes down the road, and 20,000 people there work in the high technology sector. In 2015, just Canada North alone contributed $7.8 billion to Canada's GDP. Today, 3 years later, that little technology park in Canada North contributes $15 billion. $15 billion. They've been set free. And they've been given the confidence. They know they have a government that supports what they want to do and that believes in them. And when you have a team and you have a leader that believes in you, you know what a difference that makes. You know what a difference that makes. And here, look at all the new startups. And I think this is one thing that Invest Ottawa has done a wonderful job. Create the kind of environment where a startup will thrive and then grow because it has support and it has people who has confidence in them. And that's what we want to see more of. You know, this is the key, I think. There's all kinds of words here, but I'm not going to read them. Shh, don't tell anybody, okay? Don't tell anybody. Don't tell on me or I'll be in trouble. So I think Ottawa has become that location of choice. It has. And that's what's attracting people because they know they can come live in Ottawa, they can have a good quality of life, they can feel welcome and they can feel part of the community and they can create a better future for themselves and their children. And not only that, they can contribute to their neighbors. They can help build a community. And I think that's one of the things that we here have done really well. And the government, you have a government that believes. And we're making the kind of targeted investments, creating the companies and technology of tomorrow. Programs and policies that will help turn your brilliant ideas into marketable goods and services. And we're making progress. In 2018, Canada saw the highest levels of venture capital investments in a generation. Yes, that's worth clapping about. Yes, it is. We have a strong entrepreneurial spirit. I think we have to. We had to survive in this country. It's a bit of a challenge, right? You can't learn, you can't use all of the techniques and everything. When you came here, you had to change or you died, right? That's it, but that's the same in technology. It's the same in business. You have to change, you have to adapt, you have to be creative to address where you are today. What are your challenges that you're facing today? So Canada needs to change too. And that's what part of this funding is. To give the support, to give the confidence that we can change. We've done a very good job, and as I mentioned, Invest Ottawa with startups have been doing wonderful work. But now the government wants to take the next step, help later stage companies scale up and go global and sell their products to the rest of the world, because my goodness, we make amazing products. We make amazing products that the world really needs right now. So what we're trying to do with this money, is that we need a technology ecosystem. We need a technology ecosystem. We need a place, we need the activities, we need the foundation upon which to build that ecosystem. Because right now, we have these clusters and hubs across the country. We have 3 of the major here in Ontario with Ottawa, Toronto, and Waterloo. But just think what we could do if we could provide the mechanism by which these brilliant hubs, these brilliant clusters could actually work together and actually create those opportunities that we want for the future. So here at Bayview Yards, this was the first innovation hub of this type. And this the opportunities that it presents for people who have ideas, they have talent. You have talent, you have ideas that the world deserves. So now we're going to help make that possible. So how many new SMEs, how many of you created, Michael? I can't remember. Okay, 54 right now in the accelerator here. If we can help them grow, they're going to create jobs. They're going to create opportunity. They're going to create progress in the technology sector that will benefit all of us. So we need to work on that, and we need to work on our partnerships. We need to work on our collaboration. We need to work on building together. And, you know, sometimes you need competition, but you also need cooperation. You need collaboration. So we need to build that ecosystem, and that's exactly what this money will be used for. And I'm very pleased to say that the Government of Canada, through FedDev, there you are, FedDev is contributing over $52 million through 3 of these clusters to support that collaborative effort in Toronto, in Waterloo, and in Ottawa. So this is an investment that will bring the strengths and experience of Ottawa, and it'll help build the rest of the corridor. Those other hubs will bring everybody up, and that's the idea. It's not bringing one person up to the detriment of someone else or some other cluster. It's bringing everyone up together. So we're going to work together to make a difference. And it's going to build the next generation of global technology businesses in Canada. This is what the world wants. And guess what? We have what the world wants. So I think it's important that we take time to celebrate. You know, sometimes I think we take each other for granted. I just have to tell you that. When I go and I visit the technology companies in my riding, every day I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. I know the talents out there. I know they're doing wonderful things, but when I get to experience and see it up close and personal, I think, you know, we need to celebrate more. And I'm going to look forward to seeing what this investment will bring for all of us and for the country as a whole. So if I could leave you with one final thought. I think what's set Canada apart from the rest of the world is the idea that we've managed to build a society where everyone is valued, where every contribution is valued, where ideas are valued, where people are valued. And when you do that, everybody has a chance to contribute. And when you make room for everybody, and when you support them, and when you inspire them, that's when you can make a difference in the world. And that's exactly what we here in Ottawa and we here in Canada with these investments, it's exactly what we're going to do. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all of your hard work, for all of your commitment, for your creativity, because it matters. Because I tell you, Canada has a lot of great natural resources, but there's no natural resource in Canada that's greater than the brain power we have right here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karen. You're an inspiration for your leadership for championing our region. To the Honourable Navdeep Bains, Minister of Innovation, Science, Economic Development, FedDev Ontario, and the Government of Canada. Within that $52 million being shared across the province, we are so privileged and so grateful to be receiving $16.9 million into Ottawa and Eastern Ontario to support scaling companies in this region. Thank you very, very much. It was such an honor to collaborate with so many in this room, with our friends and colleagues at Mars, Communitech, across Waterloo and Toronto, on this, the first Scaleup platform of its kind that will accelerate the growth and commercial success of so many companies in our ecosystem. So thank you, FedDev Ontario and Government of Canada, for your generous support of our entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Yes, and thank you, Karen. That was amazing. And talking about the difference between startups and how we're building these amazing startups and really having to support scale-ups, it was really interesting for me over last year collaborating with Communitech and Mars and with FedDev in thinking back to my startup, because I built a startup that was able to get to millions of dollars in revenue and be very successful nationally, and millions of dollars in profits and 10, 20 people and growing until we decided to go global. And there's a huge startup support that's out there, and there's a huge startup community I was part of, but all of a sudden there's not a go global community per se. And it was hard. And going global for us meant really trying to replicate our model in the United States. And we felt we knew the United States well. I'd traveled there extensively. My team and I, we had watched all the episodes of Seinfeld and Friends, 60 Minutes and NFL. I knew all the words to their national anthem, for God's sakes. How hard could this be? But the subtlety of trying to take our business model to the United States was very difficult. And there was a lot of friction. And we didn't have the advice. It was very, very difficult to find the talent of the people that we really needed to help us who had been there and done that. It was difficult when we landed to make the connections, to be able to hit the ground running. And it was very difficult to get the capital to compete against the companies that we were competing with in their very own backyard. So when this program was put together, I couldn't help but think that this was the program that I needed 5 years ago. So I'm incredibly excited about working with these amazing scale-up founders that we've been working with here in Ottawa to see them take it to the next level.
So stay tuned for lots of specialized services and programs that are dedicated to those scale-up objectives, specialized advisory services, global programs, opportunities to connect with greater customer, investor, and market opportunities, and of course the acquisition of talent, which is something we hear consistently in this ecosystem that this new platform funded by FedDev Ontario will help us to directly address. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce a man who truly needs no introduction, His Worship Jim Watson, Mayor of Ottawa, co-chair of Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. Please join me in welcoming him to the podium.
Well, thank you very much, Sonia. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. C'est toujours un plaisir d'être ici à Bayview Yards. It's a pleasure for me to be back at Bayview Yards in my capacity as co-chair of Invest Ottawa, and very pleased to also thank Karen. She's like a preacher at a revival meeting. Praise the Lord. Praise FevDev. We love it. And she got so excited she forgot to mention the amount. So, Sonia, thank you for announcing $16.85 million coming to Ottawa. Let's hear it for the federal government. Et aussi, on avait un autre député fédéral qui représente la circonscription de Ottawa-Vanier, Mona Fortier. Bienvenue, Mona. And Susan Richards, the other co-chair of Invest Ottawa, Michael Tremblay, representatives of various scaling companies that we're going to hear from, ladies and gentlemen, leaders in the community. First of all, thank you, Karen, and thank you, Mona, and to the federal government for this wise investment in the City of Ottawa and Invest Ottawa, and really for all of Eastern Ontario. The launch of Canada's Scaleup platform is a major milestone in the support of innovation and economic growth in our community and in our country. You know, we're very proud of the fact that we do punch above our weight. We have more engineers and PhDs and scientists on a per capita basis in Ottawa than any other city in all of Canada. We very much are a knowledge-based economy. Government is still a large employer, the largest employer. We're appreciative of that. But technology is second, hospitality and tourism is third. I know Michael Crockett, the president of Ottawa Tourism, is with us as well. Because when the tech sector is doing well, every sector is doing well. Hospitality, the small business, suppliers, and the like. Alors, cette annonce importante aidera nos entrepreneurs et permettra de créer de nouveaux emplois ici à Ottawa. Et c'est vraiment un grand but pour moi personnellement de créer plus des emplois pour encourager plus des étudiants de rester ici après leur éducation. So we have some great post-secondary institutions, and the 4 presidents of those institutions serve on our board at Invest Ottawa. And we want those students and those young people and those young entrepreneurs to stay in the nation's capital. And thanks to the Government of Canada and their investment of almost $17 million here, we're giving our fast-growing companies the tools they need to attract capital, talent, customers, and sales. This is very much a collaborative effort, as Sonia pointed out and Nick pointed out, working with Mars and Communitech, not seeing them as the competitors, but seeing them as collaborators. And the programs and services of the Scaleup platform will support high growth and high potential firms on their way to becoming the next new $100 million anchor company of the Canadian economy. Now, today's news is exciting for many in this room and for many individuals who really want to go to that next step. Alors, merci au gouvernement du Canada pour cet investissement important dans notre économie locale ici à Ottawa. I also want to just say thank you to Michael and the team here at Invest Ottawa. You know, back in 2010, when I ran for mayor, one of my campaign commitments was to create a hub like this called Invest Ottawa, where we'd have all of these great intersections of talent and technology coming together. And we found that this building, which was by all intents and purposes abandoned, it was an old public works building. I think it was where they fixed snowplows at one point. And we got the federal government, the provincial government, the previous provincial government, I'll point out, and the city government all to come together and invest in this wonderful facility that is now bursting at the seams. And we're looking at adding an addition on because we have so many people here in the incubation space, and various agencies and the private sector have been very, very helpful. And we couldn't have done it without the federal government. We certainly couldn't have done it without the leadership team of Michael and his crew. And, you know, anytime I'm in this building, I'm very, very proud of it because it is always bursting at the seams with energy and enthusiasm and excitement and optimism about the future. You know, last year we had the lowest unemployment rate in 30 years, 4.2%, which is quite remarkable, something we should be very proud of, but it's both a blessing and a curse. And so we need the support of the federal government through this program to encourage more people to take the next step from a startup to scale up. And I want to thank all of you, the entrepreneurs and the inventors and the dreamers of our society, for coming out today for this really exciting announcement so we can say thank you formally to the federal government. You know, I had an uncle who was an inventor, and he had all sorts of crazy ideas. And the one that I always remember, because they gave it away in the Cheerios boxes of cereal, was a thing called, I can't remember what it was called. It was like a hockey puck, and you could shoot it and it would tell you how fast it would go. And the reason it went into cereal boxes is because he basically couldn't sell it to anyone, and he finally struck a deal, and he ended up, you know, passing away, not really all that rich. But he never gave up on his dream to be the inventor of that next best thing, whether it's going to be Shopify or BlackBerry or QNX or some of the other great companies that we have in this community. So thank you for never giving up on your dreams. There are probably a lot of days when you're wondering, why am I in this? I wish I could have a steady job, a steady paycheck. But you're the individuals that are going to create the jobs, not just of today, but of tomorrow, that will ensure that we remain one of the most vibrant, exciting, and dynamic cities in the most blessed country in the entire world. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Mary Watson. Obviously, it's something we all acknowledge that we wouldn't be standing here today without your support and vision. I know that for me, thinking back to what Invest Ottawa and Oakry used to be, I never envisioned working for them until I walked into this building and saw 30 or 40 founders hanging around every day. So thank you very much for that gift to us.
We want to take a moment to recognize the many partners here in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario that directly contributed to the project that will be funded at that $16.9 million. I had the pleasure of working with so many of them almost on a daily basis. I'm certain they were watching for my emails and calls and starting to avoid me by the end of that 1 year of investment together, led by Invest Ottawa, together with Elspark, Bayview Yards, our 4 post-secondary institutions here in Ottawa, Algonquin College, Carleton University, La Cité Collégiale, the University of Ottawa, and our friends and colleagues in Kingston Region at Queen's University, Launch Lab, and St. Lawrence College. It is truly a remarkable collaboration, the first that I have ever seen in 20 years of working in this ecosystem. Thank you all for your commitment, for always being at the ready to come together to create your ideas and help make them a reality together with us. And it is now my great pleasure to introduce our President and CEO, Michael Tremblay.
Thanks so much, Sonia. And Sonia, thank you for your leadership in getting us to this stage. Our whole leadership team, yes, thank you. Many people involved, but absolutely, Sonia, you were the quarterback on this one. Thank you so much. Thank you. I usually don't use notes, but, and in fact, there's been so many great words already shared this afternoon. I'll just pick on a couple of areas that I think we should probably emphasize a little bit. So, and I'll frame it this way. So why are these investments so important? And I could come up with 4 areas that I would want to touch on. So firstly, in early 2017, we went down the track of building a new strategic plan for all of our effort here at Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. It took a long time to do, and we launched the new program early in 2018. And the investments that have been identified here today are directly building upon that strategic plan work. It's going to help us to accelerate the pace of the services and the programming that we provide across a really, really wide region. So I'm very, very happy that we're able to start with a great plan. So we're not starting from a cold start here. We're moving really, really rapidly here. So the investments that are being made will be put to good use from day one. So I'm very, very happy with that. The second part, and it's been touched on a little bit, but I want to go a bit deeper. Scale-ups bring jobs to Canada. It actually is that simple. If you look at all the research, it will show that less than 5% of the companies in our country produce over half of the new jobs in our country. It actually is that simple. And so the more that you can do to affect that equation, the more growth and prosperity you'll drive for our country. It really is an important factor. The research shows that those services that are provided have a very direct bearing on how that will go. And so let me provide a bit of definition of what a scale-up is. Quite simply, it's organizations that either grow revenues or jobs at a pace of at least 20% a year consistently. We have many firms in this city that really outpace that dramatically, and a few of them are here today with us, like MindBridge, like Ascent Compliance. We have a really good list of companies here that fall into that category. And I do want to emphasize the partnership we have with all of Eastern Ontario. So this includes Kingston. So we have a long-standing partnership with Kingston Region, coming off a previous set of programs that were also sponsored by the federal government. Those are really important relationships. So we can take everything we built here, the history we've had with Kingston Region, and do something really good for all of Eastern Ontario. So really, really important. Also want to emphasize the collaboration that we've had with Communitech in Waterloo, with Mars in Toronto. They have been incredible partners in building the programming. So this isn't around having a cascade of announcements that happens on one day, which is occurring in Waterloo and Toronto today as well. This is around collaborating to pull the best practices out of each organization and put them to work in all regions. We'll be working very closely with Mars and Communitech and their ecosystems to make sure that we put everything that we build in each of the regions to good use in all of the regions. I think that's really important. I believe that's a blueprint that'll be applied to other regions across Canada. It's a new way of looking at it. Mars and Communitech are not our competitors. They're our partners in achieving success in global markets. It's really important that we look at it that way. We need to put that to bed. That's an old issue. We need to move forward and keep in mind that we're competing in world markets. They're great partners along with FedDev Ontario. And then finally, to extend our great thanks to FedDev Ontario. We have Colette here with us today. A lot of members of the team have been active with us over this past year. We are so proud of the relationship we've had with FedDev over time, and this new investment that's being made, given the history we have in the region of Ottawa and in Kingston, will be put to very good use. We have a long history of success. This is going to help us take it to the next level across a wide dimension of disruptive technologies. But in particular, in market-led innovation areas that are important to us. We've spent a lot of time in looking at bringing that disruptive technology to big government problems, to problems that are in the healthcare system, and another partner in this agreement is the Ottawa Hospital. So we're very proud to be with you in this program. And also smart cities. We work very closely with the City of Ottawa. You've seen all kinds of activity with our autonomous vehicle technologies that we have such activity in our region. The investments made here today will help us to propel those market areas in a way that really makes us visible in global markets. So I want to make a promise to everyone here. We take this investment very seriously, and I promise you we will make every penny count for the growth and prosperity of our region right across Eastern Ontario. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your leadership, for believing in the team that you have built here at Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards, in our founders, our firms, and our community. It's really incredible. Mike joined us 2 years ago, and it feels like a monumental degree of activity, of progress has been made under your leadership, so thank you. And leveraging our Scaleup platform and the critical funding from FedDev Ontario, we're going to be taking action on a number of different objectives. Many of you will know that we have a very proud champion in Susan Richards, our co-chair for female founders, women-led business, diversity, and inclusion. It's our pleasure to call her to the stage to deliver remarks today and to thank her for all that she's done to support this critical objective in our ecosystem.
Thank you very much. My legs had fallen asleep. Feel free to stand if you're like me when I sit, especially if I'm a little nervous before speaking. My legs tend to, magically they took me up here. I can't feel anything from the waist down, but going to rely on my trusty new glasses that I bought online from a female-owned organization, female-founded business called Lady Boss. Lady Boss glasses are also protector against the blue screen, the blue stuff. Anyway, as co-chair of Invest Ottawa and Baby Yards and the chair of our Female Founders and Women-Owned Business Subcommittee of the board, it is a pleasure to join you. I would like to extend sincere thanks to FedDev Ontario for their generous support of entrepreneurs, firms, and organizations across our region through Canada's Scaleup platform and our Eastern Ontario Scaleup project. I would also like to congratulate the team at Invest Ottawa. This is, and all the contributing partners that have joined in on this. This was a major amount of work to get us to this date. And I really thank everybody for the long hours, evenings, and weekends that got us here. Here in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario, this critical funding will enable us to work together as a truly collaborative and integrated community in far greater ways to achieve critical objectives. So this is truly the only way to achieve these important goals, working with women and men across our region who are committed to taking action. I am delighted that Canada's Scaleup platform, the Ottawa Eastern Ontario Scaleup project, will include many exciting programs and services that address key diversity and inclusion goals established by Invest Ottawa and our partners and the clients we support. This is a critical step in our journey as we listen, learn from, engage, and collaborate with our community in new ways on these important fronts. And it is truly a journey. We acknowledge that true diversity and inclusion must be intersectional, fostering a safe and welcoming environment where people with different identities are empowered to contribute to Ottawa's economic development. We are committed to working with community leaders to effectively engage with our city's vibrant, diverse groups to ensure their voices are heard, their concerns are addressed, and their unique insight not only acknowledged, but actively engaged and built upon. This is a top priority for Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. Gender diversity and inclusion is one of our top 5 priorities in 2019 and a core foundation of our strategic plan. As an example of how we are translating these commitments into action, with critical support from FedDev Ontario, I am delighted the Ottawa and Eastern Ontario Scaleup project includes new programs and services for women in tech, female founders, and women-led businesses from all backgrounds and every walk of life. Invest Ottawa aims to enable and catalyze the startup, scale-up, investment opportunity, and commercial success of more high-growth female in Eastern Ontario, with a focus on the creation of Ottawa's first 100 million women-led firm. This directly supports our vision to help Ottawa become the best city in the world for women founders and businesses to launch, grow, scale, commercially successful, globally oriented firms. While women represent 50% of the population, we're only representing 16% of SMEs in Canada. Only 8.4% of majority-owned SMEs export, compared to 12.8% of majority-owned male SMEs. And women receive less than 2% of the venture capital financing. Leveraging the efforts of our Female Founder and Women-Owned Business Subcommittee and related strategy, and with a focus on translating our gender diversity and inclusion guidelines into action, Invest Ottawa will establish and implement a new suite of programs, services, and activities that directly address our shared objectives. With this critical support from FedDev Ontario through the Ottawa Eastern Ontario Scale-Up program and our partners, we look forward to developing new programs and services for female founders and women-owned firms. This includes implementing fierce founders, or related programs, specializing advisory services and mentorship, training and events on investment, customer acquisition and market readiness, and facilitated linkages to clients, partners, and investors. building a more robust pipeline of Indigenous entrepreneurs and firms in our region, Algonquin College, Queen's University, and Invest Ottawa will develop and implement new early-stage entrepreneurship programs, services, and events for current and aspiring Indigenous founders across our region. Catalyzing the growth and success of more Francophone entrepreneurs and firms, La Cité and Invest Ottawa will develop and deliver advisory services and training opportunities for Francophone founders and entrepreneurs to create a pipeline of future scale-ready Francophone firms. Thank you once again, FedDev Ontario. And congratulations to Invest Ottawa, all the partners contributing to Canada's first Scaleup platform and our Ottawa Eastern Ontario Scale-Up program. I look forward with working with everybody in the days ahead, celebrating our progress and achievements as an entrepreneurial community. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And thank you for your leadership. Having you as our co-chair, having you on our board, having you on our subcommittee, and encouraging our team to diversify some of the services we provided, the advisors that we have. We've actually moved the dial over the last year. We've kicked up a pre-accelerator startup boot camp that started around 6 months ago, and the latest cohort that's about to launch in 2 days is almost 50% female. So when you think that the industry average for tech startups is about 1 in 20. It's pretty amazing, and I think that we can look no further than having Susan at the helm and shining a light on some of the female leaders that we have in this community. It's awesome.
So this has truly been a landmark day, a landmark announcement for our region. It is the largest FedDev Ontario award that we have ever received in Eastern Ontario and Ottawa. So thank you again to everyone who contributed. We look forward to serving you. So the many founders and entrepreneurs and firms that are with us today, you will benefit directly from this announcement and from the programs and services that we are about to roll out. You will be our partners, you will help us to shape them, and we look forward to catalyzing your success. This concludes our formal program today. We're going to call forward our special guests for a photo opportunity, and we encourage you to please continue networking, enjoying the good food and company assembled here today. Thank you for a fantastic celebration.